I wanted a new case for my sunglasses because I really don't like those hard glasses cases. So here's how I made some, and I even had the perfect fabric for the occasion. You can make the smaller one or the larger one depending on the size of your glasses. This project is beginner friendly and very easy to modify for the size. To make this, you will need some outside fabric, some lining fabric, and fusible fleece. You could also use something like Soft and Stable or another type of batting if you don't have fusible fleece, and just quilt the outside pieces instead. All of your cuts of fabric and fusible fleece will be the same size. For the larger size, I did 9 inches by 5 inches. And for the smaller size, I did 4 inches by 9 inches. Here I was making the larger one, so I have 2 pieces for the outside that are 9 by 5, 2 for the lining that are 9 by 5, and 2 pieces of fusible fleece for the 9 by 5. Then I took the fusible fleece and fused it to the outside pieces according to my package directions. Like I said earlier, you could also use batting and quilt it instead if you don't have fusible fleece laying around. Otherwise, I also have some linked in my Amazon storefront. You could check it out on my link in my bio. Once you have those fused together, you're going to lay the lining pieces down so right sides will be together. And if you're using directional fabric, you'll want to make sure that it is facing the right direction and the curved piece that we're about to sew will be on the top. You'll repeat this with both pieces. So both are just the outside pieces, right side facing up, lining, right side facing down, placed right sides together. I did also pin mine in place kind of towards the middle top to make sure they don't shift. Next, you'll want to draw a curved line at the top 2 corners. Again, if you're using directional fabric, this will be the top. I just used a drinking glass to find that curved corner and mark it with a pen. You should be able to use like a plate. Any round object will work just fine. Repeat this with both sets. And then what we're going to do is sew a 1/4 inch inward from that curved line and then also along that top short edge. So you'll start on the left or the right, go up, across, and back down. This is what it should look like after you've sewn it. I did do a little back stitch at the front in the beginning, and I go right off the edge there. Next, you'll want to trim back that corner a 1/4 inch from your stitches, and you can also add some notches or cuts to the curved line to make it easier for turning. Next, what you'll do is open up both of these pieces and place them right sides together with each other, with the lining on top of the lining and the outside on top of the outside. If they're not lining up nicely, one of your curved sides might be going down lower than the other. Just pick out a few stitches and try again. I had to do that the first time I made one of these, and it's just due to the curve coming down lower on one side than the other, so try to make sure those are straight to begin with. Once these are pinned together, you'll go ahead and take it to your machine, and we're going to sew around the entire perimeter, but leave a spot for turning in the lining. I left about 3 inches open. You can go all the way around, or I will show you another way. If you go all the way around when you're sewing without stopping, just make sure you're not sewing through the curved part. To avoid sewing down the curved edges, what I did was as I approached that middle part where the curve is, I sewed all the way up to it by folding it back. And don't forget to do it on the bottom as well. Sew all the way up to the curve, give it a back stitch, and then go ahead and cut your thread, remove it, and then fold the curve back down and start on the other side right where the curve is, give it a back stitch, and then continue going around all the edges until you get to the other side, and you'll do the same thing over there again. You can also try just sewing right through. I would probably use a 1/8 inch seam allowance then, but I just found it turned out better when doing it this way. Then as you approach where you started stitching, make sure to stop a few inches away because we want to leave an open spot for turning. Your curved edges should be able to be pulled up like this. If not, you're going to want to rip some stitches out and try again. Then you can go ahead and turn it right side out through that hole you left in the lining. I like to use a wooden stick to kind of push out all of the edges. Make sure when you're doing this not to use a sharp object because you don't want to poke through and make a hole in your project. Once you have it turned out, you'll want to go ahead and tuck those edges in where that hole is. And I just top stitch mine down because this is the lining. And since it's a small project, you're not really ever going to see it. If you want to go for a more professional look, you could definitely hand stitch this shut. But I just did a top stitch and then I stuck the lining inside. I gave everything a good press. And that is it. Now I have a case for my sunglasses.